To destabilize and to break spirits. That is their purpose, to destabilize and to break spirits. Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most soul, straight out of the Independent, out of the UK. The Home Office has scheduled a deportation flight to Jamaica on the day that England's month-long coronavirus lockdown lifts, sparking outrage and accusations of institutionalized racism. Now, you can imagine this, right? On the day, now England's been under a lockdown, and on the day that they lift the lockdown that was due to COVID, as soon as that lockdown lifts, there's a flight that's scheduled to leave England for the UK. Now, never mind that people are going through it right now from all different angles. Never mind that the holiday seasons are up on us. Nobody cares about all that. They want to see the destabilization. They want to see broken spirits. That's all I can think of. And let me be very clear before I get into this video by saying this. I firmly believe in deportation. I believe in deportation of those who have become a menace to other people's lands when they could have easily exploited the opportunities there and stayed on the right side of the law instead. I believe in mercy for those who they didn't commit any crime. All they were trying to do was make a better way, and they might have overstayed their paperwork. And I also believe that the people who left Jamaica at a really young age have never been back, have no damn business being deported back to Jamaica. You left Jamaica at 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, and they're deporting you back to Jamaica at 35 years old, 40 years old, and you had never been back since you left. In my eyes, you are no longer a Jamaican. Yes, you're Jamaican by birth papers. Yes, you're Jamaican as in the soil, as in the land, the culture, but you're not Jamaican as in the person that you stand to be right now, because you have been Americanized, or you have been raised in the ways of the British system. Therefore, you are now American, or you are now British, more so than you are Jamaican. And a lot of these people have no one there for them. A lot of them have been away so long. Grandparents have died, great-grandparents have died, aunts and uncles have died or moved on, or they've lost touch and never been in touch with these people for decades. And then suddenly you find yourself in Jamaica, on Jamaican soil. That's like dropping a man in a strange country and telling him, okay, go ahead, survive. What do you think is going to happen to him? So, speaking with the Independent, Zita Halborn, a national co-chair of black activists rising against Cuts UK, and the organization as a long-running petition calling on the Home Office to end mass deportations to Jamaica, said that it was a dangerous step to deport people during the pandemic. They don't care. They don't care. And remember, I've said before, I said the deportation will continue, okay, regardless of the pandemic. Remember, the United States of America under Donald Trump did deport people to Jamaica during this pandemic. Jamaica got its fair share from the U.S. during this pandemic. So I knew that England was going to follow sooner or later. And albeit that they had halted it for a while, it didn't last that long. They've been itching to go. They have the goal is to get all of the deportees out of the country as soon as possible. And they give two damns about COVID. They don't care if these people are infected and are going to be sent back to the island to spread it some more. They're saying to themselves, it's up to the Jamaican government to take them when they come in and make sure that they screen them properly and make sure that they're not coming into the country with COVID. And if they are, then it's also still up to the Jamaican government to actually monitor these people and treat them, isolate them, and heal them before letting them go into the public. They don't care if these people are COVID positive. They are sending them to Jamaica anyways. So y'all can stop forgetting now about, oh, I wonder if they're COVID positive, if they're going to keep them until they get better. They don't give a damn. That flight is ready, and they will be putting those people on that flight, and they will be sending them to Jamaica. Now, she said that she was disturbed to learn that the government had planned the deportation flight for December 2nd. That's right before Christmas. And it is exactly the day that England's national lockdown was aimed at preventing the spread of COVID-19 will be lifted. There hadn't been any deportations to Jamaica through the past lockdown, and in fact, a lot of people were actually released from detention because of the COVID pandemic. Why? Because these prison facilities or these lockup facilities, holding facilities, they did not want to be responsible for people dying in their care. So they released them, but they monitored them, and a lot of them had to check in. Like every week, they had to go check somewhere. Then it came to the point where they went in for a check and they were taken in and told, hey, we're going to hold on to you until we process your paperwork out. Now, to be doing this during a pandemic, it's a breach of human rights and it's not safe. But who cares? And who's counting? Who's holding who accountable? When they make the laws, they break the laws and they reset the laws in their favor. Who are we to say different, right? Now, it is still unclear how many people are expected to be on that December deportation flight to Jamaica. As of this moment, we don't know yet. Okay, now speaking with the Independent on Tuesday from the Colnbrook Immigration Removal Center in Harmondsworth, England, a Jamaican national who is among those who have been given a deportation order said that he was surprised to receive the notice last week. He said, I'm feeling down and low and just very depressed. Asking what his real name was, he said, please, I don't want my real name to be published because this could hurt my case. Not only was he devastated at the thoughts of being ripped away from his partner, whom he has built a life with in the UK, but he has also had to live with the fear of contracting coronavirus while in immigration detention. Now, the deportation flight itself could pose a future risk because Ms. Halburn warned that with detainees that are forced to travel at a time when people across the country are being urged to stay put. The activist said that the Home Office deportation flight should not be allowed to leave the ground, particularly in light of the fact Black and other ethnic minorities have been found to be at greater risk of death from COVID-19 than any other group. This is one of the bases that they're trying to actually get the flights to be held. They're calling on systematic racism. They're calling on COVID. They're saying blacks and other ethnic groups are more susceptible to the COVID. And if you put them out there now, I mean, they're trying everything to get this flight to not take off. Okay? Now, in recent studies commissioned by London Mayor, researchers found that black people are at almost twice the risk of dying from COVID-19 than white people are. I'm gonna love to hear what my audience says in the comment section below about that particular statement right there. This is a recent study that was commissioned by London Mayor Sadiq Khan, and the research found that black people were at least twice at risk for dying from COVID-19 than white people are. Now, analyzing data from local and international sources, they found that black people were at least 1.9 times more at risk of dying after contracting the virus. The deportation flight, Ms. Holborn said, should not be going ahead whatsoever at this time during the pandemic. It's not safe. It was wrong anyway, in our view, she said. But now at this time, when COVID measures will make things even harder on every level, it is totally inappropriate. Now, in a statement to The Independent, Labour MP Clive Lewis also condemned the planned flight and said that the Home Office's dehumanizing attitude to people resident in immigration to and seeking refuge in the UK is totally out of step with the inclusive Britain that so many of us want to see. Mr. Lewis also suggested that the deportation flights were part of a broader issue of institutionalized racism in Britain. Do you believe, listening to this video, that this is actually true? That these deportation flights are stemming from a broader issue, which is actually institutionalized racism in Britain. I spoke about this recently on SouFLoTV where I said, listen, when I see ICE go out in the US and do these immigration raids, I never see them do the immigration raids in the German communities or in the communities that are of European descent, the Russian communities, because in the US you have different communities. Just like how you have communities where it's largely Jamaicans or Caribbean people there, so you know you're going to find mostly black people there, and we're concentrated in areas like Miami, Florida, or Brooklyn, New York. It is the same way they have neighborhoods that are for Russians and Germans. They've formed their neighborhoods as well. But when you see the dozens of videos and pictures of people rounded up and handcuffed and getting put in detention centers and then being put on flights to be deported, do you ever see white Europeans being deported? Answer me. Now, there has to be some kind of basis to that argument about the institutionalized racism part, but let's carry on with this. So, undoing institutional racism starts one step at a time, and the Home Office can choose to take a step by stopping the deportation of Osime Brown. He referred to the case of a 22-year-old autistic man whose family is currently fighting to stop his own deportation to Jamaica. And I don't know if you've seen it, but I believe that I covered it in the past. Asimi is autistic. He had gotten himself into some trouble, and now they are saying that he was not of the full functioning capacity of an adult mind. His mind is underdeveloped, and he functions as a child age group would. So he is easily led astray. He is easily manipulated and easily told to do things that did get him in trouble. And I remember his mom saying the first thing when she told him that, hey, your order came in that they want to deport you, he asked, okay, so can I just take a plane back? So he doesn't even understand the concept that if he is deported from the UK, that he doesn't just get on a flight when he is fed up with being in Jamaica and go back to the UK, that will be his life. He has been diagnosed, he's been on medication, he has been going through treatments, and to see now them deporting him, that would be rough on him in Jamaica, because I am absolutely almost positively sure that he will not have the same resources. I've seen people that were deported back to Jamaica that were diagnosed schizophrenic in the UK. and they were in the UK on medication, seeing psychiatrists, going through counseling, and then they were deported to Jamaica, and they were deported without medication. And they were deported with no links to get medication. And what do you think happens to someone like this? So, this 22-year-old autistic man, his family is currently fighting to stop his deportation to Jamaica, and I am just hoping that he is not another one that's on that flight. Over 150,000 people have signed the ongoing petition that was launched by Miss Holborn. Are these people for real? They won't let us travel, but they can deport a plane full of people. This is one signatory identified as Monica Tucker actually wrote, appearing to reference the Johnson government's coronavirus lockdown rules. This is very wrong. What they're doing to human beings is what Janet Reed said. Judgment will be upon them when time comes for them. The Home Office faced scrutiny over this deportation flight to Jamaica earlier this year after it allowed one such flight to take off despite the legal challenging that some detainees had not had the adequate access to legal support. Now, in the midst of the pandemic, Ms. Holborn said that the immigration advocates, they fear that coronavirus measures may put in place at detention centers are again making it difficult for detainees to access the legal advice and legal help that they need. So, with some coronavirus measures seeing restrictions put in place on access to facilities like computer rooms, telephones, she said that detainees could be struggling to receive the sufficient support that they need. Let's cut a long story short. Let's put it to you like this. I continue to encourage my people that put your best foot forward when you go into foreign lands. For those of you who went and you got caught because you could not find a way to stay there longer and your papers ran out and you were simply trying to make a better way. You know, people work under the table. They earn their money. They send their money back home. And when they're caught, they are deported. For them, that's not who I'm talking about. For the people who went into these other foreign lands and you carried on with your bad self, and you were the disrespectful type, and you were the type to commit crimes, and you were the type to become violent with people, and all that other kind of stuff, that is now getting you deported. For you, I have no sympathy, and I can't lie, but I do have a genuine sympathy for those who left Jamaica at a tender age, went overseas, and had never been back to Jamaica. And you got to understand, when some people say, oh, you left Jamaica and you never went back, so you threw stone behind you then. You turned your back on your country then. I want you to put yourself in somebody who is 8 years old, 9 years old, and your parents took you away from Jamaica. You are going to outgrow Jamaica if your parents don't make sure that you come back on vacation, that you stay familiar with what's going on. Because you leave at 8, and before you know it, with school and work and college and trying to get somewhere in life, before you know it, you're 20 years old. And before you know it, the people that you know or you left back home in Jamaica, you and them have grown apart. Your cousins that used to be close, you hadn't kept in touch with them. So you got to understand the dynamics of this situation. You know what I'm saying? And when these people are sent back after losing touch, I feel that the genuine plan on the British government, their intentions toward Jamaica is to destabilize. Their intentions is to break people's spirits. It cannot be for anything else. Why else would you send somebody back to somewhere where they had not been in decades? They don't speak the language. They don't know how the system runs there. They have no living relative there. They have no support system whatsoever. I think that's wickedness. Anyhow, it's official. It's been put out. Let's see how this one goes. Let's see if this flight will get postponed. Let's see if some more people will be taken off the flight. Or, just like the British government has said, they have no remorse and they care zero about sending these flights off. So December 2nd of 2020, Jamaica, brace yourself for another deportation flight out of the UK. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.